Aquarius. Proofread. First one for July. My ruling planet is in my 11th house. Aquarius is the natural ruler of the 11th house. Let's get into it. Okay, Aquarius, there's some endings that are happening. And it could have to do with, career, friendships, but friendships in terms of like siblings, people that are very close to you in that kind of way. But this is like the Lord of Ruin, I believe. Please don't quote me on that. But it's saying that like the thought process or the ways that you were thinking about or what you had a responsibility to think about or consider is nearing completion or is ending. This is also talking about, changes that might be happening in your career and in your work life, okay? It's like cutting ties with something. And it's also just kind of like maybe even a dissension, no longer choosing to have this network available as well, that type of thing. The sun is creativity, and it's also the ability to regenerate. So this is saying that you can probably regenerate this thing that brought you multiplicity anyway, because there are so many different avenues or so many different networks that you can go down to try to have this thing happen again or to try to reboot something. And this also even tells me that the thing that was there will always be there, but you may not even ever really need it like that again. And this is also talking about something that you have experienced inside of yourself, inside of your own head, your own psyche, mentally, psychologically, that has changed like kind of forever, right? And it's been a long time. You've spent a lot of time having to think about something, and now you've come to this conclusion, all right? Let's go ahead and look at what the other ones are. Aquarius. Another 10. And this is the completion of a feeling, right? So you got the 10 of Swords and you got the 10 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups is putting aggression into a feeling, or you may have, you may feel passionately about the direction that you're going in or what's happening right now, what's opening up to you. It's kind of like new opportunities that are coming in, and maybe a situation that made you feel like this 10 of Swords is actually going to turn out to be more of an abundant situation or more of a lucky situation, a lucky strike. That's what I'm getting. So, this is kind of like a stroke of luck that you might be feeling, or this is kind of just like one strike of luck that you might be experiencing, even though it feels like a little deafening to you, right? And this is kind of like no longer being able to listen or hear something, right? Because it's talking about sound, definitely, with that sort of like Sun and Gemini energy. You could be dealing with a Gemini in some kind of way. You could be dealing with a Pisces. But it is talking about putting aggression into the emotion. So how I've been feeling about something and what I am doing is proving how I feel. So the extent to which I'm going by what I'm saying and what I'm doing has to do with how I feel, okay? And also what I've been thinking this whole time, right? So it could be talking about what someone has been thinking about this entire time, okay? Let's look at the other card. Page of Rods. I'm glad it's not another 10, but it's kind of like, just like an amp up from the 10. So it's kind of like, yeah, these completions are happening, these endings are happening, and the Page of Rods is here, and it's like, I'm excited about this new beginning. I'm excited about this new action that is being taken, right? Or this new action that I am taking in regards to like a situation that I have learned. So it's almost kind of like learning how to act or learning how to behave or learning how your behavior might manifest an outcome that you may previously had not anticipated, right? Because these are mutable cards here that's talking about changing up the flow of something or breaking something up, and it talks about instability, right? Unstable in the head, unstable in the thoughts, unstable in the mind, destabilizing in the emotions as well, okay? So we're trying to bring something to a completion so that we can feel restabilized, okay, in some kind of way. And it's almost kind of like there's a sense of racing here, racing for time. There's also a sense of like competitiveness here in terms of this racing for something or getting something or achieving something, that type of thing, for sure. The Page of Rods is, you know, just bringing about changes, okay, to the way that you do things. So let's flip over the card that's behind the Ten of Swords, Mars and Leo. So it's like putting your aggressions into action, right? Because it's a 7, so it's related to the Chariot, which is the Chariot is putting things into action so that it can move towards a victory or experience some kind of victory in a sense. And I think that you, this Lord of Ruin here, this Ten of Swords is making you feel as though you are experiencing small victories, or you're at an advantage here, right? And it's like an advantage. Conflict is still there, but it's almost like you can see yourself coming out of it. You're like fighting through it, you're pushing through it, and you're kind of like seeing almost like you're almost there, you're almost towards the finish line. It's not an 8 yet, right? But it's a 7. It's almost like you feel a little bit held back in terms of what you can do here, but it's like the way that you relate to what you feel held back from doing is gonna only make you feel more courageous and more strengthened to move towards what it is that you're trying to get to carry out. You definitely want something, and it's definitely like your ego may have even gotten the best of you here, and your ego is probably the reason why you experienced the resistance in the first place, right? But it's saying that, you know, you're getting towards like experiencing or seeing something happen that you want to happen. Let's look at what's behind the Ten of Cups. The Three of Wands. It's waiting for something to happen. People say waiting for your ships to come in, but it's waiting to see the return on something that you set into action. What's the boomerang, right? When you throw the boomerang out, is it coming back to you? You know, what you put out there comes back. So if your intentions were well-minded, then, right, if you had well-minded intentions, then what you get back is actually going to reflect what you put out there, okay? So remember that every time. Right? And the Three of Wands does talk about childish behavior as well, because the threes are related to the 3rd house of Gemini, and Gemini is talking about children. And so, you know, Mars rules the 1st house, and Aries is the 1st house, okay? And this is Sun in Aries, but the Sun is exalted in the 1st house. So it's saying, like, in the first place, what was happening, what was being done, what was the intention. You know what I mean? What was the level of potency to what was being done, and what was the reaction, and what was the response? Because there's a lot of fire here, and fire has to do with behavior. It has to do with also impulse as well, and also some level of attraction to something or some way of acting or being. Okay, and the Page of Rods, what's behind it is the Nine of Swords. So going back to that Ten of Swords energy, this is, you know, worry, thinking about something. The nines are saying that there's a discovery point that's happening here. You know, it's almost like you're constantly worrying. You're spending a lot of time isolated, worrying about something, which you're very good at because you're an air sign, Aquarius. But this 9 is saying, you know, you could just be letting your fears get the best of you, or letting the unknown get the best of you. So your aggression and your impulse might be being misread, because you are just kind of like letting things go in any direction, or letting things just happen as they come out. You know what I mean? I'm getting like shut the door on something, or close out a situation that actually is bringing you all of this anxiety and this worry. You know, this is like being up all night thinking about something, or just spending a lot of time thinking, right? The goal is not to worry here. So it's like, if you can't figure something out, I don't want you to stop thinking about it, but I want you to stop creating like the worst case scenarios in your head. Because if you don't know what's going on, then why would you drive yourself crazy, you know, punishing yourself in a sense? You know, you're like doing damage to yourself, right? Your ego wants answers, so it's like your ego is beating you up because you haven't come up with the answers for that ego. But it's like you have to discover what it is about yourself that you're confused about. What are you running away from? That type of thing, you know, Aquarius. Anyway, if you'd like to get a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Definitely follow on Instagram and YouTube. It's Providence Tarot on both of those platforms. And my personal account is NYC Kendrick. Why did I do that? NYC Kendrick. Bye, Aquarius.